The air in the studio was thick with tension before the cameras even started rolling. The bright lights, the buzzing energy of a live audience, and the promise of yet another fiery morning on the Bayou. Everything seemed perfectly ordinary, until it wasn't. That day would become one of the most talked about moments in daytime television history, when Louisiana Senator John Kennedy faced an unexpected storm from Whoopi Goldberg herself. A broken bar and responded in a way that no one saw coming. It began innocently enough. The show had invited Senator Kennedy to discuss his recent comments about national unity and political civility. Whoopi, known for her bold opinions and sharp wit, didn't waste time cutting straight to the heart of the matter. Within minutes, their discussions shifted from policy to personality. Voices rose slightly, laughter turned nervous, and viewers could sense that something was brewing. Then it happened. With a smirk and an unmistakable edge in her tone, Whoopi said the words that froze the room. "Maybe you should just go back to the Bayou, Senator." Gasps echoed through the audience. The camera zoomed in on Kennedy's face, every viewer wondering how would he react. Would he snap back? Would he walk off the stage? But Kennedy didn't do either. Instead, he paused, leaned slightly forward, and with the calmness of a man who had spent his life facing storms both literal and political, he said softly, "Ma'am, the Bayou is where I learned respect. It's where I learned that you can disagree without being disagreeable. And it's where I learned that you don't have to shout to be heard." The silence that followed was heavy, yet strangely peaceful. Whoopi blinked, taken aback. The audience, unsure whether to clap or stay quiet, finally erupted into applause. Some stood to their feet. Kennedy didn't gloat, didn't smirk. He just smiled politely and continued. "You know, we're all from somewhere," he went on. "But where we come from shouldn't be used to tear each other down. It should remind us that we're part of something bigger, a country built on very different voices learning to live together." What could have turned into another viral shouting match transformed into a rare moment of humility and grace. Whoopi, visibly moved, later admitted that she hadn't meant for the remark to sound as harsh as it did. She said, "Sometimes, we all get carried away." "I respect that you didn't take the bait." Kennedy responded, "That's all right, ma'am. The world's got enough yelling already." Behind the scenes, crew members later said the exchange felt like a breath of fresh air in an era of constant outrage. Social media lit up, but not in the usual way. Instead of dividing into camps, thousands of people praised Kennedy's composure and Whoopi's willingness to acknowledge the moment. "That's how adults handle disagreement," one viewer tweeted. "We need more of that on TV and everywhere else." In the days that followed, clips of the exchange went viral. Late-night hosts replayed it, commentators analyzed it, and even political rivals found themselves nodding in reluctant admiration. The conversation it sparked wasn't about left or right, it was about how we talk to each other when we disagree. For Kennedy, it wasn't about winning an argument. In an interview later that week, he said quietly, "When someone tells you to go back to where you're from, you can either see it as an insult or as an invitation to show them what that place taught you. I chose the second." The story resonated far beyond politics. Teachers played it in classrooms as an example of grace under pressure. Parents shared it with their kids as a lesson in emotional intelligence. And even some of Whoopi's longtime fans admitted that, while the comment was sharp, the way the moment ended reminded them of what real dialogue can look like when egos are set aside, and respect steps forward. As the weeks passed, the headlines faded, but the message remained. Two people so different in background, belief, and temperament had turned a potentially ugly confrontation into a national reminder that disagreement doesn't have to mean disrespect. In a world where shouting often drowns out sense, Senator John Kennedy's quiet composure spoke volumes. His words from that day still echo online. You don't have to shout to be heard. And maybe, just maybe, that's the lesson we all needed to hear straight from the Bayou to the bright lights of television, reminding us that decency is never outdated, and that sometimes, calmness can be the loudest sound in the room.